From Goldenlife Creative Vision Studios, we create wisdom through vision. Every story begins as a spark. Every spark becomes light. And through light, we create wisdom. Goldenlife Creative Vision Studios.
Have you ever been like driving down the highway and your car starts making this weird rhythmic grinding noise?
Oh yeah, the absolute worst sound.
Right, you hear it. You know it's definitely not supposed to be there. But instead of pulling over or, heaven forbid, driving to a mechanic and paying a diagnostic fee, what do?
You just reach over and turn the radio up.
Exactly. You turn the radio up a few notches. Problem solved.
Right, until your transmission drops out.
Exactly. Until like 3 weeks later, when your transmission literally drops out in the middle of an intersection. I mean, we laugh about it, but it's a deeply human response. We've all done it.
Oh, absolutely.
You see a glaring red flag in a relationship, or you notice a sketchy pattern with a coworker, and instead of dealing with it, you convince yourself it's just a phase. You just play the music louder.
It's so much easier in the short term.
It really is. And today we are doing a deep dive into a stack of historical and psychological analysis that explores this exact, deeply uncomfortable human flaw. We're unpacking the ancient breakdown of a ruler named King Dhritarashtra from the epic Indian narrative, the Mahabharata.
It's such a fascinating text to dig into.
It is, and our mission today is to connect this ancient mythological king to modern behavioral psychology, specifically a concept called emotional blindness. We're going to explore how the refusal to accept uncomfortable truths destroys families, businesses, and, well, entire empires.
Yeah, it's a really profound subject because it forces us to re-examine how conflict actually starts. I mean, we tend to think of destruction as this loud, sudden event.
Right, like an explosion.
Exactly. But every great war, whether it happens on a muddy battlefield or in a corporate boardroom or silently across a kitchen table, it begins quietly. It begins inside a human mind.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And what's so compelling about the narrative we are looking at today is its central thesis. The greatest blindness a person can suffer from isn't a physical inability to see.
Okay, and then what is it?
The most dangerous blindness is the active psychological refusal to accept the truth that is standing right in front of you.
I love how the text visualizes this too, because the imagery is just striking. When you look at the historical descriptions of this ancient kingdom of Hastinapur, it's not just a city. It's this pinnacle of wealth and power.
A completely golden empire.
Right, a golden empire. And at the center of it is King Dhritarashtra. The texts describe him as an elder statesman, probably in his late 60s, with a broad, dignified face, a silver beard, and he's wearing these majestic maroon silk robes with intricate gold embroidery.
Very regal.
Very. But the defining feature, the thing you absolutely cannot look away from, is that his eyes are permanently covered. He wears this elegant cream silk blindfold.
Which is such a powerful image.
It really is. Now, in the lore, he is physically blind. But the blindfold is doing double duty here. It is the ultimate metaphor for his psychological state. And what's fascinating is that his expression isn't described as tyrannical or, cruel.
Right, he doesn't look like a villain.
No, not at all. It's an expression of deep, agonizing inner conflict. It's the face of a man who is literally paralyzed by affection.
Yes, and that paralyzing affection is entirely directed at his son, Prince Duryodhana. If the king represents this conflicted, static hesitation, his son is the exact opposite.
He's all momentum.
Pure kinetic momentum. The narrative paints Duryodhana as athletic, sharp-jawed, wearing royal blue and gold armor. He radiates ambition, pride, and this overwhelming, dangerous sense of entitlement.
He sounds intense.
Oh, he is. But crucially, though, the ancient texts go out of their way to show that Duryodhana shouldn't be viewed as just some cartoonish villain who wakes up wanting to do evil.
Right, it's more complex than that.
Much more. His specific danger lies in his supreme arrogance. He genuinely believes he is entitled to everything the world has to offer, completely without bounds.
Which makes him an absolute nightmare to manage, as a parent or a ruler. But the king isn't alone in this, right? It's not like Dhritarashtra is just sitting in an echo chamber with his son.
No, he actually has incredible counsel.
Exactly. To balance out that arrogance, the king is surrounded by the most brilliant advisors of his era. You have Vidura, his half-brother, who is this grounded, serene statesman in his late 50s.
Voice of reason.
Total voice of pure reason. Vidura constantly speaks the objective truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. And then you have Bhishma, the revered patriarch of the family, a warrior who is absolutely committed to Dharma.
Yeah, we should probably pause on that word Dharma, because it's critical to the stakes of this story.
Yeah, let's unpack that. What does that really mean in this context?
Well, in this context, Dharma isn't just about, doing your chores or being a generally good person. Dharma is the cosmic moral order of the universe.
Oh, wow. So it's much bigger.
Massive. It is the gravity that holds society together. So if a king fails to uphold Dharma, he isn't just making a political misstep. He is essentially unspooling the fabric of reality for his people.
Exactly. So the stakes are literally world-ending here. And the king has these titans of wisdom, Vidura and Bhishma, telling him the right thing to do every single day.
Right. They are constantly warning him.
Which brings me to my first big question. Looking at this dynamic, it heavily reminds me of a modern CEO who turns a blind eye to a highly toxic, but maybe highly profitable star employee.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Only in this case, the star employee is his own son. So was the king actually fooled by Duryodhana's behavior, or was he just too weak to parent him?
That is the core psychological knot we need to untangle here. The king was absolutely not fooled.
He wasn't.
Not at all. He wasn't ignorant. He knew exactly what was right, and he knew exactly what his son was doing. But this is where the anatomy of emotional blindness really comes into play.
Okay, break that down for me.
As a father, his love for Duryodhana mutated into a dangerous, toxic attachment. And modern psychology explains exactly what happens in the brain when this occurs.
What happens?
When your attachment to someone becomes stronger than your commitment to the truth, your subconscious mind fundamentally shifts its priorities.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning it stops trying to protect your grasp on reality, and it goes into overdrive trying to protect your emotional comfort.
Wait, really? So you're saying it's an actual biological defense mechanism? Like the brain is sensing a threat, but instead of a physical predator, the threat is just an uncomfortable truth.
That is precisely what is happening. Think about the neurology of cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
When you are confronted with a truth that threatens your core identity, in this case Dhritarashtra having to admit his beloved son is a monster, the brain's amygdala, the fear center, it lights up exactly as if you were being chased by a lion.
That's wild. So your body is reacting like it's in physical danger.
Yes. Your body floods with stress hormones like cortisol. The brain desperately wants to escape that immense emotional pain.
So what does it do?
It effectively bypasses the prefrontal cortex, which is the logic center, and initiates a psychological flight response. Denial is simply the brain fleeing from emotional pain.
Wow. So his brain is literally pulling the fire alarm, and to stop the noise, he just chooses to cut the wire instead of, actually putting out the fire?
That is exactly right.
He knows that if he accepts the truth about his son's toxic ambition, he has to take action. He would have to discipline him, publicly rebuke him, or, deny him the throne.
Which would shatter their relationship.
Right. He is terrified of losing the relationship he values the most. So he just freezes. He chooses silence.
Precisely. He trades the short-term discomfort of discipline for a temporary emotional peace. But love without wisdom doesn't protect anyone.
No, it really doesn't.
When love is stripped of accountability, it just becomes an engine for destruction.
So his brain is protecting him from short-term emotional pain. But reality doesn't care about his feelings. While he's busy protecting his comfort inside the palace, what is actually happening to the kingdom outside? Because this internal psychological flaw doesn't just stay in his head, right?
It absolutely doesn't. It manifests into a catastrophic physical reality. This internal denial is the direct road to the Kurukshetra war.
And that's the massive apocalyptic civil war at the center of the Mahabharata.
Exactly. It is a war that pits cousins against cousins, teachers against students. It is total societal collapse. And the pathway there is paved entirely by the king's inaction.
Just by doing nothing.
Yes. Every single warning from Vidura was politely ignored. Every time the elders raised the alarm about Duryodhana's escalating cruelty, their counsel was just brushed aside. And every egregious mistake the prince made was simply forgiven, or worse, completely justified by his father.
Let's dig into the mechanics of that snowball effect. Because I think we have this flawed idea that if we just stay out of something, if we remain neutral or silent, we aren't doing any harm, we're just keeping the peace. But that's a lie, isn't it?
It is a complete illusion. We really have to understand the causal mechanism of silence in a power dynamic.
Right, because silence isn't neutral.
No, not at all. Every moment of the king's silence actively served as an endorsement. It structurally reinforced Duryodhana's arrogance and his paranoia.
Because he's getting away with it.
Yes. When an authority figure, whether it's a king, a parent, or a manager, remains silent in the face of bad behavior, the perpetrator doesn't just feel relieved, they feel empowered.
They learn that the boundaries don't exist.
Exactly. They learn, on a neurological level, that boundaries are a fiction, that the rules do not apply to them.
The imagery the sources use to describe this progression is just haunting. You have this magnificent golden royal court of Hastinapur bathed in warm, rich light.
So beautiful on the surface.
Right. But as the king's silence continues, there's this creeping shadow of the Kurukshetra battlefield slowly bleeding into the throne room. It's this terrifying contrast.
It really emphasizes the impending doom.
It does. And the core lesson here just hits like a ton of bricks. A kingdom is not destroyed by the sheer strength of evil. It was destroyed by the silence of those who know the truth.
Yes, the complicity of the good.
Right. But kicking the can down the road never actually works. I mean, think about a physical infection. If you have a serious infection in your arm, you don't say, well, I'll just ignore it and maybe time will heal it.
Time is definitely not going to heal that.
No, time is going to make you lose the arm. So why do we convince ourselves that doing nothing is the safest option when the stakes are so incredibly high?
Because the psychological illusion of denial is just incredibly persuasive. The inner voice whispers, no, if I ignore it, it will disappear. It's just a phase.
We've all said that to ourselves.
We have. We convince ourselves that time is a passive healer. But time is not a healer when it comes to unchecked arrogance or toxic behavior. Time is an incubator.
Wow. An incubator.
Yes. Small wrongs, left unaddressed, they multiply and mutate. Dhritarashtra remains silent because human beings are biologically wired to avoid immediate acute pain.
Even if it causes a bigger problem later.
Exactly. Even if avoiding it guarantees a much larger catastrophe in the future. He traded the short-term, finite discomfort of confronting his son for the total, infinite annihilation of his entire world.
It's the ultimate tragedy of short-term thinking. And, it's so easy to judge a mythological king in his silk robe. But we have to pivot here, because the framework we're exploring doesn't treat the Mahabharata as some dusty historical relic.
No, not at all.
It pulls the story right out of ancient India and drops it squarely into our modern lives.
That is the really profound realization here. The overarching argument is that the Mahabharata didn't end at Kurukshetra. It is an ongoing human condition.
It's happening right now.
It is happening right now, in our own homes, our relationships, and our offices. The exact same psychological dynamic of the blind king and the entitled son is playing out in millions of micro-scenarios as we speak.
I really want to break down how this analysis bridges the ancient and the modern, because they use this concept called the Mind and Body Alignment Program. And the scenarios they present to illustrate this are, honestly, they are uncomfortably relatable.
They hit very close to home.
They do. Let's make this real for a second. Think about a parent sitting on the couch late at night. They hear the front door open, they hear the clumsy footsteps of their teenager, and they hear the subtle clinking of glass in a backpack.
They know exactly what it is.
They know exactly what is happening. They know their kid is sneaking alcohol, but they just sit there, frozen.
Because the alternative is so hard.
Right, because they know that if they stand up, walk out to the hallway, and confront it, the relationship changes forever. There will be screaming, slamming doors, weeks of tension.
Exactly. Or consider another scenario the framework presents. A mother standing outside her teenager's bedroom door.
Oh, this one is tough.
It is. She can hear quiet sobbing from inside. She knows her child is in deep, perhaps dangerous emotional pain, but her hand hovers over the doorknob, and then she just lowers it.
She walks away.
She walks away.
Yeah.
She refuses to acknowledge the pain, because crossing that threshold means having an emotional conversation she feels entirely unequipped to handle.
Right, it means facing her own fears.
Yes, it means facing her own potential failures as a parent.
And it's not just parenting. We see this in the professional world constantly. Imagine a corporate boardroom. The quarterly numbers are up, everyone's bonuses are secured, but everyone at the table is shifting uncomfortably in their expensive chairs.
Because they know something is off.
Because they all know, objectively, that a certain executive is manipulating the financial reports. Or think of the middle manager who keeps protecting a highly toxic, abusive employee simply because that employee brings in big sales.
And they want to avoid the conflict of firing them.
Exactly. In every single one of these cases, the inner voice of denial is literally whispering, everything will be fine, just don't look at it.
And we really have to understand what that whisper actually is.
What is it?
That whisper is the sound of your inner conscience being smothered. The mind and body alignment concept explains the mechanics of this brilliantly. It argues that every wrong decision, every moral failure, begins long before the physical action is actually taken.
Okay, so when does it begin?
The failure happens the exact millisecond we stop listening to our inner wisdom. When the father decides not to stand up from the couch, when the executive decides to sign off on the fraudulent spreadsheet, that is the moment the downfall is locked in.
Wow.
The physical collapse of the family or the company might happen 5 years later, but the structural integrity is compromised the very moment we silence the truth.
That is terrifying. It means the house is already falling down, we just haven't hit the ground yet.
Exactly. Gravity is just taking its time.
So, if human nature defaults to this dangerous emotional blindness, if our brains are practically hardwired with cortisol and fear to protect our comfort and listen to that whisper, how on earth do we fight it?
It takes deliberate effort.
Right, like how do we cure it before it's too late? How do we stop our own personal Kurukshetra from happening?
The pathway to correction starts with accepting a very harsh, unyielding law of reality. The truth never disappears.
It just sits there.
Worse, it only becomes more expensive with time.
Ah.
If you ignore a leak in your roof, the rain doesn't care that you're stressed out. The water doesn't stop flowing. It just rots the drywall, then it rots the wooden frame, and then it compromises the foundation until the whole house collapses on top of you.
Right. A $10 patch job today becomes a $100,000 rebuild tomorrow.
Precisely. So to stop this progression, the framework provides a method of radical self-reflection. It outlines 4 critical questions that we must ask ourselves the moment we feel that hesitation.
The moment we feel the urge to turn the radio up to drown out the engine noise.
Exactly.
Okay, let's walk through these because they are potent. What's the first step in taking off the blindfold?
The framework starts with a deceptively simple question. What truth am I actively avoiding right now?
Just naming it.
Yes. It forces you to name the elephant in the room.
Whew. That's a gut punch right out of the gate. Because if we are honest with ourselves, we always know. You might play dumb, but your gut knows exactly what the truth is.
Oh, your gut always knows.
What's the second question?
Question 2 dives into the emotional tether. Which relationship is stopping me from making the right decision?
See, that is the one that ruins your weekend.
It really does.
Because it requires a brutal level of honesty. It forces you to admit that you aren't being noble or keeping the peace. You are being held hostage by your fear of losing someone's approval.
Yes, exactly.
Whether it's your son, your boss, or your spouse.
Precisely. Which leads directly to question 3. Where has my attachment become stronger than my wisdom?
Oh.
This is where you identify the exact point where Dhritarashtra failed. You have to locate where your affection or your fear has completely overridden your logic.
Okay, so you name the truth, you identify the relationship that's holding you back, and you locate where your attachment has blinded you. That brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, right?
Yes. The final question is the catalyst. What action should I take today before it becomes too late?
And this is where I have to push back. On behalf of anyone listening right now who is picturing a very specific, very difficult situation in their own life.
Okay, push back.
Awareness is one thing. You can sit in your room, listen to this deep dive, and answer those 4 questions perfectly in your journal. But action.
Action is hard.
action is terrifying. How do you actually find the courage to have the conversation, to fire the employee, to confront the teenager, when you know biologically it's going to cause an immense amount of pain?
You find the courage by fundamentally shifting your perspective on pain. You have to recognize that the pain of action is finite, but the pain of inaction is limitless.
Wow, that's a powerful way to frame it.
The framework outlines that true transformation requires 3 distinct steps. First is awareness, seeing the problem clearly, which those 4 questions help achieve.
Right.
Second is acceptance, admitting that the problem is yours to solve and that the universe is not going to fix it for you.
No magic wands.
No magic wands. But the third step, action, is where the actual transformation happens. You have to realize that the greatest victory in life is not defeating external enemies.
What is it?
It is having the courage to face ourselves. Whenever we choose fear over courage, or we choose silence over responsibility, we aren't avoiding a battle.
We're just delaying it.
We are just ensuring that the battle will be much, much worse when it finally arrives. When we ignore the truth, we create our own personal Kurukshetra.
So, what does this all mean for us today? Let's pull all these threads together. We started with an ancient myth and ended up staring into a mirror.
That's the power of these sources.
It really is. King Dhritarashtra wasn't defeated because he was born physically blind. He was defeated because he actively, deliberately refused to see the truth that was standing right in front of him, wearing royal blue armor and demanding the world.
He chose his comfort.
Yes, he allowed his brain's desire for comfort to override the cosmic order of Dharma. He chose his toxic attachment to his son over his duty to reality, and as a direct result, he brained his entire kingdom to the ground.
And that raises the ultimate question for all of us. The historical texts insist that this story is not merely a record of the past.
Right, it's a warning.
It reflects the exact psychological traps we fall into every single day when we value our emotional comfort over the objective truth.
I really want to build on that brilliant concept you brought up earlier, the idea that truth becomes more expensive with time.
It's the most practical lesson here.
Think about that. Ignored truths act exactly like a psychological debt that accrues compound interest.
Oh, absolutely.
Every day you ignore the red flag, the interest compounds. Every day you stay silent to keep the peace, the principal debt grows. So, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your week.
A little self-reflection.
Exactly. What is the hidden cost you are paying right now for the comfortable lies you are telling yourself today? You might think you're getting away with it, you might think you are successfully managing the situation, but the bill is constantly growing in the background.
It never stops growing.
When that bill finally comes due, and history promises us that it always does, will you be able to afford it?
That is the defining question of adulthood. And it ties perfectly into the final, most powerful takeaway from all of this analysis. You are not living after the Mahabharata. You are living the Mahabharata.
The red flags are out there. The choice to see them is yours. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep your eyes open.
Face the truth today. Before Kurukshetra takes it all away.
Turn up the music, ignore the sound. Driving down the highway of a quiet night. You hear the grinding gear, but you turn off the light. You crank the volume higher just to drown the pain. Trading tomorrow's ruin for a moment's gain.
Righteousness is the only
A king
true
upon
strength.
a golden throne of silk and thread, ignoring all the warnings that the
True dharma
wise
is the
men
foundation
said.
of a good life.
Love without the truth is just a burning blade. In the shadows of the silent
king must govern
promises
with a
we
pure heart.
made.
Only then will his kingdom find lasting peace.
Oh, the blindfold isn't silk, it's the fear inside. The quiet place where all your uncomfortable truths reside. You aren't reading history, the war is at your door. You are living Mahabharata forever. lets the poison grow. An executive signing off on what he shouldn't know. We lock the bedroom door, we turn our heads away, while the compound interest of the lie we have to pay. It's easier to freeze, it's easier to stay, until the house of cards falls down and blows away. Take off the blindfold, face the truth today, before Kurukshetra takes it all away.